Political correspondent at Times Radio. Well, Kate Hardcastle, the customer whisperer, is standing by. Kate, if you could whisper into the ears of Messrs Zahawi or Quatting, the Chancellor and the Business Secretary, what would you say at this point ahead of their meeting with the energy suppliers?
Well, good evening. I'm not sure I would be using my whispering voice. I would be using a very loud voice with a megaphone, trying to be as calm as I could to say that millions of people across the country are struggling, and this impact isn't just affecting their families and the way they live their lives today, but it is creating such a level of fear that there is mental health challenges at stake already as people are looking at future predictions for their fuel prices and just cannot understand, even with the £400 that people are expecting in terms of a rebate, how they are going to get through what is set to be a bitter winter, not just financially, but also weather-wise. And I think the more I'm given advice about if it's cheaper to microwave a jacket potato versus if it's cheaper to put one in the oven, and we've got down to that level of detail, I think there's a reality to this that just doesn't seem to be penetrating anyone within the government right now.
Wow. Well, the Chancellor and the Business Secretary are going to have that meeting tomorrow. Do you at least have a bit of faith that they are serious about it, they've recognised the need now, and they're going to try and come up with something, as Charlotte said?
They have to come up with something. I think many people within the public are waiting with bated breath to find out what that's going to be. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be quick enough? Are those potential savings going to impact the consumer soon enough? That's all yet to be seen. But I think what we need to see is a reality check that it isn't just a meeting with the energy chiefs. It's a meeting with the general public like me and you and everyone who have contacted us over recent months about the sickness they feel to the pit of their stomach about the reality of what's ahead. We already went through March headlines of heating and eating when the weather was more challenged. It doesn't seem as prevalent when we've got glorious sunshine outside and people aren't as worried. Obviously, we're turning attentions to water companies at the moment when we're looking at companies that need to do the right thing. But with the profits that are to be made and consumers that are facing the darkest challenges yet, I think it's absolutely paramount that there's that understanding of what it actually takes for a family or a household to get up each day and to get through the panic of not knowing that no matter how hard you work or what you do to survive, it just isn't enough. And that's the problem, Henry. You know, we have got the ability as consumers to be smarter with our shopping. And that's what I advise on week in, week out. You know, a lot of us still waste a lot of food. How can you change that? I'm giving advice in terms of recipes and where you can cook, as I said, economically, maybe in a microwave or maybe in a grill rather than switching the oven on. But these are small savings to be had when we've got the public talking about potentially thousands of pounds of increases in those fuel bills. And I sound passionate about it because I am.
Well, Kate, I can hear you. I mean, I was listening to Martin Lewis, the money-saving expert, earlier today, and he sounded like he was at his wit's end, and you sounded it too, because the idea of people's bills going from £800, which is where they were about a year or so ago, to £4,000, if that happens, you know, come January, is just mind-blowing.
This is the challenge, and whilst Martin is very much out there as a campaigner, there are many of us trying to do things with groceries, with supermarkets, with other businesses to try and help organisations out there. You know, everything from the fact that you can go to Asda into the cafes and get a £1 meal for children without an accompanying adult, through to M&S giving away a piece of fruit every day for a child that can go in and just get a piece of fruit. They may sound small in significance, but actually it all adds up to people just trying to get by. But when you go to the Trussell Trust or any food bank, you will hear stories of the fact that they are facing people they have never interacted with before. People who are saying, but we earn 2 incomes in this house. We don't even know how we've got to a point that we're here. And no amount of advice of how to pick up a yellow stickered bargain in a bargain bin is going to help here, because this is so much more significant. You could save and be the best shopper on the planet. It still might not be enough for some households.
And Kate, when you hear the woman who could be Prime Minister in 4 weeks' time saying, I would do things in a conservative way, you know, lowering the tax burden, not giving out handouts, how do you respond?
I pride myself in that I am somebody that would work with any politician in any party if it meant the right thing for the consumer, because that's my passion. I want people to feel that they can survive and to do so without it having an impact on them mentally. But I haven't heard any narrative in the weeks of campaigning so far that shows an empathy and a real understanding of what it's like to walk a day in those shoes. Indeed, we've actually seen some quite nice design shoes from one of the candidates. And while it doesn't matter what you wear to be a leader, it doesn't and shouldn't matter where you live and what you do. It should just matter about, as a leader, do you have a good temperature check on pretty much the state of the nation.
Yeah.
And I can't hear reflection of how many of us live our lives today and the reality of the person I was speaking to last week who has a £12,000 a year income and cannot pay for the simple parts of her life
And that's
anymore.
somebody who would not get the benefit of any tax cut because they don't pay tax.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they are absolutely, having worked 50 years now, trying to work out how and if they've got the physicality to work throughout because they need to pay things off before they can eventually retire. I mean, it's that upsetting, Henry, and I know you're getting callers the same. That's what we're dealing with. So all we can do is apply pressure in the right places, apply pressure to those businesses as well, because if they want to be here in a few years' time and have any standing of decency, they need to step in and do the right thing too. Yeah. And realise as well as consumers, if you do feel in trouble, please just get in contact with the company and work out whatever payment plan you can, just to make sure it doesn't affect your credit record, because I'm really concerned that also people might be getting their credit record affected because they're looking into perhaps not paying, which is understandable, but when you look into that, you will see that not paying isn't the solution. The right thing to do is have the conversation.
Yeah, Kate, thank you very much indeed for your passion and for your clarity. Kate Hardcastle, the customer whisperer. She wasn't whispering there, she was speaking in a very strident voice, and quite right too. Thank you very much indeed. Your thoughts on this, please. A number of you have already sent in texts, and thank you very much.